So, what if I told you an AI could pass the exact same high-stakes exam your doctor did? I'm not talking about some online quiz, I mean the United States medical licensing exam. It feels like the world of AI is moving at light speed, jumping from just writing our emails to stepping into the emergency room. And it turns out the results are, well, they're both incredibly promising and honestly pretty terrifying.
Let's just start with a number. 67.6%. Now, that's not the score of a really bright med student. Nope. That's the score a general-purpose AI, something called Palm, got on questions from the U.S. medical licensing exam. To put it simply, it passed.
But what's really wild here is just how fast this happened. I mean, look at this chart. Just a couple of years ago, back in late 2020, the very best AIs were scoring around 33%, barely scraping by. Then, Palm didn't just inch forward. It took this massive leap, jumping over 17 percentage points past the last record. That's a huge deal in such a short amount of time.
So that's the first part of our story, right? In a classic academic setting, AI has become unbelievably book smart. It can literally soak up and spit back huge amounts of medical knowledge, and it can ace the kind of multiple choice tests that doctors spend years training for.
But that brings us to the real question, doesn't it? Knowing all the facts in a textbook, that's one thing. But giving safe, effective, and kind of nuanced advice to a real, live person, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
And this is where our story takes a really sharp turn. We're about to go from the clean, controlled world of an exam to the messy reality of patient care. And we're going to uncover some of the hidden dangers that were lurking just behind those super impressive test scores. So the researchers decided to push things a bit. They moved the AI away from just picking A, B, C, or D. Instead, they asked it to write out long, detailed answers to the kind of health questions that people are actually searching for online. They shifted the whole task from just knowing the answer to actually giving advice. And the result? Oof. A panel of actual doctors and clinicians judged that nearly 30% of the AI's answers were potentially harmful. Just let that sink in for a second. Almost 1 out of every 3 pieces of advice from this passing grade AI could have actually hurt someone.
And this quote from the researchers really just hits the nail on the head. They warn that these models can hallucinate, which is a wild term for just completely making up medical information that sounds super convincing, but is totally false. On top of that, they can pick up and even amplify biases from all the data they're trained on, which could make healthcare even less fair for some people.
So it was crystal clear that the old test just wasn't cutting it. If you want to build a medical AI that people can actually trust, you first need a much better way to grade it, a new system that actually measures what matters in medicine. To get this done, they built a whole new benchmark called Multimad QA. And this isn't just one test. It's this comprehensive thing that combines the professional exams, questions from medical research, and even a brand new data set of actual health questions people are typing into search engines every single day. And here's the clever part. They didn't just score it for accuracy. They brought in human doctors to evaluate the AI's answers on things that really count. Does this answer align with scientific consensus? Is it likely to cause harm? Does it have some kind of hidden bias? This is a much deeper way of looking at the quality of the advice. Okay, so armed with this new, much tougher way to test, the team set out to build a better AI. They didn't just want a generalist who was good at tests. They wanted to create a specialist, an AI that was specifically aligned with the safety-first world of medicine.
The technique they use for this is called instruction prompt tuning. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like this. Imagine the base AI is a brilliant student who has literally read and memorized every medical textbook on the planet. Instruction tuning is like sending that student to residency. It's like a finishing school where a small set of perfect, high-quality examples, all written by expert doctors, teach the AI not just what to know, but how a real doctor should think and reason and communicate safely.
And you can kind of see how it works here. You take that general book smart model, Palm, and you feed it these super carefully crafted, expert-approved examples. The model learns to follow these new, medically sound instructions, and that tunes it, aligning all its massive knowledge to the medical field. And that's how you get an entirely new model, Palm.
So, the million-dollar question, did all this special training actually work? Let's look at the results and see how this new AI doctor, Palm, did against the old version, and more importantly, against human doctors themselves.
The improvement was, well, it was staggering. When they judged how well its answers agreed with scientific fact, the original AI was only right about 62% of the time.
But the new medically tuned MedPalm, it shot up to nearly 93%, which put it right on par with the answers written by human doctors. Just incredible. But here's the result that really matters. Remember that terrifying 30% harm rate from the first AI? MedPalm completely slashed that number. Its rate of potentially harmful answers dropped to just 5.8%. And get this, in their evaluation, that was actually a slightly lower rate of harm than the 6.5% they found in the answers written by the human clinicians. Wow.
Now, this is an absolutely massive leap forward, a huge step towards making medical AI safer. But the researchers are really clear on this point. This technology is not ready to replace your doctor. Not yet. While MedPalm did amazingly well on these specific metrics, there's still a big gap in overall quality, reasoning, and just general reliability when you compare it to a human expert.
And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating and super complex question for the future. We've just seen an AI that can pass the boards and, in a controlled test, even beat doctors on a key safety metric. As these models get exponentially better, the biggest challenge isn't just going to be building a smarter AI, it's going to be figuring out how we can build one we can fundamentally trust with our lives.